Look at the global headlines today. We are witnessing geopolitical tensions in the Middle East, shifting international alliances, and severe disruptions to the global supply chain. If you watch the 24-hour news networks, you will see a world descending into unpredictable economic chaos. You will hear financial analysts panicking about inflation, the stability of the markets, and the future of paper currency. They are terrified because they believe these events are entirely random. They are not. Welcome to Clean Slate Audiobook. Today, we are not going to look at global conflicts through the eyes of a panicked media. We are going to look at them through the cold, mathematical lens of the ultra-rich. Billionaire Ray Dalio, the founder of the world's largest hedge fund, has spent his life studying the rise and fall of empires over the last 500 years. In his definitive work, Principles for Dealing with the Changing World Order, he reveals a profound truth. The geopolitical shifts we are witnessing right now in 2026 are not anomalies. They are the predictable, mechanical ticks of a historical clock. Dalio calls it the big cycle. And right now, the clock is signaling a massive transition in the global wealth order. When you understand this cycle, the illusion shatters. You stop reacting to the daily headlines, and you start seeing the underlying wealth transfer. The 1% do not panic during a geopolitical crisis. They know exactly what time it is, and they are quietly executing a survival playbook that has worked for centuries. Turn off the breaking news. It is time to decode Dalio's blueprint. Understand why current global tensions are the catalyst for a financial reset, and discover exactly why the elite are quietly trading their digital wealth for the unbreakable fortresses of gold and land. Think about the last 20 years of your life. Whether you are a father working 50 hours a week to provide for your family, or a mother carefully managing the household budget and planning for your children's future, you have likely followed the rules. You were told to go to school, get a good job, work hard, pay your taxes, and save a portion of your income in the bank. You were told that if you did these things, you would be safe. You would have a secure retirement. You would be able to leave a legacy for your children. But recently, especially as you enter your 40s and 50s, something feels deeply wrong. You are working harder than you ever have. You are earning more money than you did in your 20s. Yet, it feels like you are running on a treadmill that is constantly speeding up. When you go to the grocery store, the total at the checkout is shockingly high. When you pay your monthly energy bills, you feel a tightening in your chest. When you look at the news and see geopolitical tensions rising in the Middle East, or supply chains breaking down globally, you instantly feel it in your wallet. The cost of simply living your daily life is climbing faster than your ability to save. You might think you are doing something wrong. You are not. You are simply playing a game where the rules have been secretly changed against you. To understand what is happening to your family's savings right now, we need to look at the work of billionaire Ray Dalio. Dalio is not just an investor. He is a student of history. He studied how empires and nations have operated over the last 500 years. He discovered that history moves in a very predictable pattern, like the changing of the seasons. He calls it the big cycle. And right now, according to Dalio's research, we are in the winter of the current economic cycle. Let us break this down into terms that affect your kitchen table. When a nation or a global system reaches this late stage in the cycle, it is usually drowning in debt. It has made too many promises to its citizens that it cannot afford to keep, and at the exact same time, it is facing costly external conflicts, just like the tensions we are watching unfold in the Middle East today. Governments and institutions need massive amounts of money to manage these crises, but they have a problem. They cannot simply ask you, the hard-working citizen, to pay double the taxes. If they did that, the public would revolt. So, what do? They use a hidden, invisible tax. They turn on the printing press. They create trillions of dollars, euros, or pounds out of thin air to pay for their debts and fund their global strategies. When they create this new money, they do not create new value. They simply steal a tiny fraction of the value from every single dollar you have carefully saved in your bank account over the last 20 years. This is the true definition of inflation. It is not that the groceries are becoming more valuable. It is that the paper money in your wallet is becoming increasingly worthless. Imagine you spend 10 years building a beautiful, sturdy house for your family. You put your blood, sweat, and tears into every brick. Now imagine that every night, while you are sleeping, someone comes and quietly takes one brick away from the foundation. You don't notice it on the first night. You don't notice it on the second night. But after a few years, your entire house begins to lean, and you are terrified it might collapse. That is what the current financial system is doing to your life savings. Every time a new crisis hits the news, every time the government prints more money to solve a problem they created, they are taking a brick out of your family's foundation. This brings us to a harsh, uncomfortable truth that both men and women need to hear. The financial advice you were given in your 20s to save cash in a traditional bank account is now the most dangerous thing you can do. In times of global tension and massive money printing, saving cash is not safe. It is guaranteed financial loss. Ray Dalio summarized this reality with a brutally honest warning: cash is trash. While you are holding on to your paper money, terrified of the fluctuating stock market or the scary headlines from the Middle East, the ultra-wealthy are doing the exact opposite. The top 1%, the families who pass down wealth from generation to generation, understand the seasons of history. They know that when winter comes, you do not stand outside holding paper. You get inside a physical fortress. When a global crisis begins, the elite immediately recognize that the currency is going to be devalued. They do not panic. Instead, they quietly and aggressively trade their fragile paper money for things that are real. They look for assets that the government cannot print, cannot manipulate, and cannot inflate away. They buy tangible assets. They buy businesses that produce real goods. And most importantly, as history has proven time and time again, they buy physical land and physical gold. They understand that true wealth is not the number printed on your bank statement. That number is an illusion that can be erased by a central bank. True wealth is purchasing power. True wealth is owning a piece of the earth that can produce food and provide shelter for your family. True wealth is holding a piece of precious metal that has been recognized as valuable by every human civilization for the last 5,000 years. If you are a parent looking at the world in 2026, and you are worried about how you will protect your children's future, you must change your mindset. You must stop trusting the paper promises of the system. You must stop letting the daily news cycle control your emotions and freeze you in a state of anxiety. You must start thinking like the architects of generational wealth. You must learn to step out of the illusion of the digital economy and step into the reality of the physical world. Because when the cycle finally turns and the system resets, the people left holding paper will lose everything. The people holding real, tangible assets will not only survive, they will thrive. In the next section, we are going to look exactly at how the elite use global fear to their advantage and how you can stop being a victim of the news and start protecting your family like a true sovereign individual. When you wake up in the morning and look at your phone, you are stepping onto a battlefield. You might not see the weapons, but the war is happening right in front of your eyes. For men and women in their 40s and 50s, this battlefield is designed to target your deepest vulnerability, your sense of time. When you were in your 20s, time felt infinite. If you made a financial mistake, you had decades to recover. But now, as you look at your children growing up and realize that retirement is no longer a distant dream but an approaching reality, the clock is ticking loudly. You feel the pressure to secure your family's future before time runs out. The architects of the modern financial system know exactly how you feel, and they use this ticking clock against you. Think about the news you consume, the algorithms on your devices, the financial experts on television, and the breaking news alerts about the Middle East or the economy are not there to educate you. They are there to keep you in a constant state of low-level panic. Why? Because when you are anxious, when you are worried about the rising cost of groceries or the threat of a global war, you do not think clearly. You react. You look for a quick fix. You see your neighbors buying new cars or renovating their homes, and you feel a sudden, terrifying fear that you are falling behind. You see a stock market rally, and you throw your hard-earned savings into it at the highest price, terrified of missing out. Then, when the market crashes, you sell everything in a panic, locking in your losses. This is the cycle of the middle class. It is a cycle built on emotional manipulation. Billionaire Ray Dalio studied this phenomenon closely. He observed that during the late stages of a historical cycle, when inflation is high and global tensions are peaking, society becomes incredibly noisy and deeply divided. People argue about politics, they argue about the news, and they obsess over every small fluctuation in the economy. But while the middle class is distracted by the noise and frozen by anxiety, what are the ultra-wealthy doing? They are operating in absolute silence. The greatest trick the elite ever pulled was convincing the working class that wealth is supposed to be loud. We are conditioned to believe that success looks like a shiny new luxury car, a massive mortgage on a house you barely use, and expensive vacations broadcasted to strangers on the internet. We are taught to trade our time and our life energy for things that lose value the second we buy them, just to prove to the world that we are doing okay. The true masters of wealth, the ones Dalio describes as the survivors of the changing world order, do not play this game. They practice a discipline that is almost forgotten today. They practice the art of invisibility. If you were to meet a true generational wealth builder today, you probably wouldn't even notice them. They do not wear clothes with giant designer logos. They drive reliable, unremarkable vehicles. They do not need the waiter to treat them like royalty, and they certainly do not care if their neighbors think they are successful. They have completely detached their ego from their spending. For a father or a mother trying to protect their family today, this is the most liberating secret you can learn. You have to ask yourself a very painful question. Are you spending your money to buy freedom and security for your children? Or are you spending it to buy the applause of people you don't even like? When you strip away the need to show off, something miraculous happens. You instantly stop hemorrhaging money. The thousands of dollars you would have spent upgrading your lifestyle to match the people around you can now be redirected. And where do the elite redirect that money? They quietly funnel it out of the digital, fragile banking system. While the middle class is arguing over political headlines and stressing over credit card bills, the elite are quietly purchasing a piece of land outside the city. They are quietly accumulating physical gold and storing it safely. They are building a physical wall between their family and the chaos of the outside world. They understand that in a world that is becoming increasingly unstable, privacy is the ultimate luxury. If you have a solid foundation of real assets, you do not want to attract attention. You do not want to be the tallest tree in the forest when the storm comes. You want to blend in. You want to look entirely average on the outside, while being practically untouchable on the inside. This requires a massive shift in your psychology. It means stepping off the treadmill of consumerism. It means looking at your bank account and realizing that those digital numbers are vulnerable to inflation and systemic collapse. It means making the quiet, boring, and profoundly powerful decision to convert your paper savings into something that has true gravity. It is time to stop reacting to the noise. It is time to turn off the financial anxiety machine. In the next moments, We will explore exactly how you can begin to build this invisible, physical fortress for your family, starting with the two most ancient and unbreakable assets known to humanity. Now that we understand the noise of the system and the absolute necessity of financial invisibility, we have to look at the foundation itself. If paper money is melting like ice in a warm room due to inflation, and if digital numbers in a bank app are vulnerable to the next geopolitical crisis, where do you put the life energy you have spent 20 years accumulating? You put it in the only two things that the system cannot print, cannot delete, and cannot recreate out of thin air. You put it in the earth, and you put it in the metal that comes from it. Let us talk about gold first. When the average person thinks about gold today, they think of it as an outdated investment. They look at a financial website, see the price of gold fluctuate by a few dollars, and they think, "This is boring. I want to buy a tech stock that will double my money next month." That is exactly the mindset that the financial system wants you to have. They want you gambling in their casino. But when a billionaire like Ray Dalio looks at the historical cycle of empires, or when a central bank secretly buys thousands of tons of gold, they are not looking for a quick profit. They are not trying to get rich off gold. They are buying it to guarantee that they never become poor. For a family in their 40s or 50s, gold is not a stock. It is financial insurance. Think about your home. You pay for fire insurance every single year, hoping you never have to use it. You don't complain that your fire insurance didn't give you a 10% return on investment. You buy it for peace of mind. You buy it so that if the worst happens, your family is not left on the street. Gold is the ultimate fire insurance for your purchasing power. For 5,000 years, through every war, every currency collapse, every pandemic, and every political revolution, gold has maintained its value. When the Roman Empire fell, gold survived. When the German currency became worthless paper after World War I, gold survived. When you hold a physical gold coin in your hand, you are holding the only financial asset on earth that is not simultaneously someone else's liability. It does not require a password. It does not require an internet connection. It does not rely on a politician keeping their promise. It is a pure, concentrated store of your hard work, completely disconnected from the fragile digital grid. In a world where inflation is constantly stealing your savings, trading a portion of your paper money for physical gold is the ultimate act of taking control. It is drawing a line in the sand and saying to the system, "You can devalue the currency, but you cannot touch this." But gold is only the defensive layer of your family's fortress. To truly secure autonomy, especially as you look toward retirement and the legacy you will leave your children, you must look to the ultimate monopoly, productive land. If you look at the actions of the world's most powerful individuals today, they are quietly executing the largest land grab in modern history. They are buying farmland, remote acreage, and property outside of major cities. Why are they doing this? Because they understand the principle of absolute sovereignty. In times of economic distress and broken supply chains, the most valuable commodity is not a luxury watch or a high-end sports car. The most valuable commodity is distance and self-reliance. When you own a piece of the earth, you are no longer just a participant in a fragile economy. You become a sovereign entity. You cannot digitally replicate fertile soil. You cannot print a fresh water source. Land provides the two things that a chaotic world constantly threatens to take away: sustenance and privacy. For a father or a mother, owning even a small piece of productive land outside the city is a profound psychological shift. If the grocery store shelves go empty because of a geopolitical conflict, the family that owns land does not panic. If the cost of living in the city becomes unbearable, the family with their own space has an escape route. This is not about preparing for the end of the world. It is about removing the anxiety of total dependence. The modern middle class is entirely dependent on a complex, fragile system to feed them, house them, and employ them. The elite use their wealth to systematically cut those cords of dependence. When they buy land, they are not looking to flip it in a year for a quick profit. They are planting a flag in the ground for their great-grandchildren. They are securing a physical legacy that will outlast the current political regime and outlast the inflation of the current decade. You might be listening to this and thinking, I am not a billionaire. I cannot buy 1,000 acres or a vault full of gold. But the old money playbook is not about the amount of money you have. It is about the philosophy of how you structure it. You do not need $1 billion to adopt the mindset of a sovereign individual. You start by recognizing the vulnerability of your digital assets. You start by taking a small percentage of your paper savings and converting it into something real, something you can hold in your hand, like a few ounces of precious metals. You start by reducing your debt, which is the ultimate chain that binds you to the fragile system. You start looking for a modest piece of property that gives your family options. Every dollar you convert into a tangible asset is a brick in your personal firewall. Every step you take towards self-reliance is a step away from the anxiety of the masses. The system wants you to remain a dependent consumer, but you have the power to step out of the burning theater. In the final moments of our journey today, we will look at how you can navigate the coming transition and emerge on the other side not as a victim of history, but as the architect of your family's new world. The storm is already here. You can feel it when you pay your bills. You can see it in the rising tensions across the globe. You can sense it in the desperate attempts of central banks to print their way out of a mathematical impossibility. The cycle that Ray Dalio described is not a theory for the future. It is the reality of your present. But as we close this chapter, you must understand the most critical lesson of all. A crisis is not a death sentence for your family's wealth. A crisis is simply a transfer of wealth. Throughout history, the greatest fortunes were not made during periods of peace and prosperity. They were quietly, methodically built during the darkest days of economic collapse, hyperinflation, and war. When the middle class is completely exhausted, when their savings have been evaporated by inflation, and when they sell their assets in sheer terror, the invisible elite step out of the shadows. Because they did not lose their purchasing power, because they held their wealth in the unprintable reality of physical gold and the unshakable foundation of productive land, they become the only buyers in a market full of desperate sellers. They do not buy to gamble, they buy to conquer. They acquire foreclosed properties for pennies on the dollar. They buy the struggling businesses. They dictate the terms of the recovery. This is the ultimate secret of generational wealth. A crisis is nothing more than a clearing of the board. It wipes away the fragile, the over-leveraged, and the emotional. It leaves behind a clean slate. And on that clean slate, the men and women who built their physical fortresses get to draw the new map. They establish a legacy that protects their bloodline for the next 100 years. So, what is the lesson for you, right now, as a parent, a provider, or someone simply trying to protect the time and energy you have traded for money? The lesson is radical personal responsibility. The government is not coming to save your retirement. The central bank is not going to protect your purchasing power. The financial advisors on television are paid to keep you playing a game that is mathematically designed for you to lose. You must become the architect of your own rescue. First, you must ruthlessly audit your ego. Look at your life and ask yourself where you are bleeding capital to impress people who do not matter. Every dollar spent on a depreciating asset or a status symbol is a brick stolen from your family's fortress. Stop upgrading your lifestyle to match your income. Embrace the profound power of financial invisibility. Silence is the thickest armor you can wear. Second, you must stop measuring your wealth in paper currency. $1 million in the bank means nothing if a loaf of bread costs $50. Start measuring your wealth in ounces, in acres, and in weeks of self-reliance. Your goal is not to have the highest number on a screen. Your goal is to have the greatest distance between your family and the chaos of the system. Finally, you must take action today. Do not wait for the news to announce the collapse. By the time it is on television, the elite have already made their moves, and you are the one paying the price. Start converting a percentage of your fragile digital savings into the tangible reality of physical gold. Start looking for that piece of land, no matter how small, that gives you options outside the city. Pay down your toxic debt to break the chains of the banking system. You have a choice. You can continue to stare at the screen, letting the algorithms feed your anxiety, watching your purchasing power evaporate as you cling to the illusion of the digital world. You can panic with the herd. Or you can turn it all off. You can step out of the burning theater. You can convert your digital illusions into physical reality. You can embrace the unbreakable power of silence and tangible assets. When the dust of this changing world order finally settles, and the new system is built, will you be the one paying the rent in the new world? Or will you be the one collecting it? The choice is yours. Stay quiet, stay strong, and build your fortress. This is Clean Slate Audiobook. Thank you for listening.